Alright guys, what's up, Tomboy Official? Drinking some coffee and posting some little bits and pieces on here. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this. Yeah, you've probably noticed that I haven't been posting as much on here. Just, a little bit of blurbs about my daily routine struggles, what went right, what could have been better. Just kind of what I'm up to, because I'm busy. And then, between trying to balance my schedule, trying to balance a paycheck, trying to balance, job applications, and trying to balance, interviewing. And not that I'm interviewing that much, but it takes a bit to study for interviews, and studying and reviewing in general, and projects I'm working on. I've kind of honestly put this pod on the back burner. I think ever since my, decreased, travel and trips to San Diego, or decreased participation in events where, I'm interacting with other LGBT people, and any kind of decreased, basically also since, the monetization process changed thanks to Spotify for podcasters, it's just been hard for me to really motivate myself to post organic and, unique content on here. Because I don't really have much to say, and I don't really have much to I can't even force it. I don't have a lot going on in this house where I'm living. Like I mentioned, I've got traditional, very reserved family members that, I'm pretty, kind of asexual almost when I'm in this household. I just couldn't care less, about, being expressive either towards sexuality or gender. I'm not comfortable with it, so I just don't. And so it's kind of hard for me to really post. Right now it's 7:34 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. It's easy for me to post right now because nobody's awake. But it's not that easy. It's no one's up. No one's awake. No one's gonna overhear me. And if they are, they're kind of sneaking around. But I don't even really feel fully comfortable in this house. My parents try to make it comfortable, but we're just not really on the same page with a lot of things as far as exactly what healthy relationships look like and things like that. Sometimes it's not really my cup of tea, the way things are handled. Stupid little examples, probably, when I went to try to sell my car initially, I had people complaining at me and up in my business about, just kind of trying to make me feel like I don't research things out, or I don't know what I'm doing, just because they haven't researched things out, or because they don't know what I'm doing. And then they get all offended about things. That's just one stupid example. Another example, there's this trip that I was wanting to go on, and when I kind of thought about it more, and I was I'm responsible for my own finances. It doesn't seem like a wise decision, while not having stable work and while working on my credit score, working on my savings, working on my investments, working on my retirement, to take money out of my retirement at a penalty of almost not double, but like quite a high percentage of a withdrawal. Like, I don't know how much it would be, but if I withdrew $3,000 to $4,000, I'd probably have to take $1,000 penalty on that or something. Like, you get charged a pretty high fee. It's not quite half, but it's a lot. Like, you get charged a lot for taking money out early, and it's like, that's money that I worked for, that I've earned, that I feel like it's my money. I have every right to spend it on leisure things however I feel like. If I want to go to Vegas and visit my friends, if I want to go to San Diego and go to a Pride event, I should be able to prioritize spending my money to do that versus prioritizing going on a family trip. Not that I don't want to go on a family trip, but it's like, there is some anxiety in it, but then also, I don't know, there was some kind of toxic approach that was kind of taken. To me, it was toxic, or at the least poor communication of just, people trying to be using like narcissistic traits and bullying. I had a family member that for some reason, didn't really believe that the reason why I was not going to be involved in this trip was for financial reasons. So they told another family member, you guys can tell me what you think about this. They told another family member, let's test and see if she actually has something else going on that's not a financial thing. And so I don't know if they realistically or pretended to offer. They said, I'm going to offer to pay half, and see what I respond, because I guess they didn't believe me. And they're like, well, if you still say that you, like they were saying, like, if I still say that I want to go, but, would be willing to pay the other half, then it's like, okay, then maybe it's just the money. But if I still decline, then it's probably something else, because they're thinking, oh, there's some other thing that I'm not telling them. And I don't think there's some other thing. I mean, there is some anxiety about like a long flight and expenses and being in a homophobic country where, you can get arrested for dumb shit, like, looking at somebody the wrong way. It's like, there's little stuff like that, but I wouldn't say it's 100% like I'm gonna completely avoid a trip because of how I present, like, or because I have to wear a dress to a wedding or something like that. Like, those are definitely factors, but they're not really reasons why I was like, oh, I don't want to go for this reason. I was like, that's a lot of money to come up with. And at the time, I did the math and I was like, well, I can come up with this amount of money. I can come up with the cash. I can come up with the money. That's not a problem, It's going to take time, and I had time, almost 2 months to kind of figure it out, and I could get tickets last second, but I could come up with the time. And then I just decided, no, let's not do it, let's not do it, this is, my money. I don't need to explain it to anyone. I've got some family members that aren't involved in my life at all, and they like to try to kind of come at me sideways like that, and it's like, we don't even talk in the first place, And so for me to kind of cancel a trip is kind of like, I mean, I get it. I do want to go, but it's like, I don't want to pay. This is terrible timing. It's terrible timing to dish out $3,000 to $4,000. I mean, it would be over that because the ticket alone, when I was looking, was $2,200 for the flight without fees. That's before tax and all the fees that they charge you. I could have probably got it maybe closer to 2,000, 1,700 or something like that. But without, like, after the fees and the tax and all that, I'm pretty sure about 2,000 is about as low as a ticket's gonna get. And this was like months in advance, right? And I'm talking like direct flights. Like if you're going to some other country, sometimes you're like, I'm not trying to like be, trying to get to another country over like a 36-hour period of time. It's like either I'm going straight there or I'm not. So it was getting harder and harder to find tickets. And I was like, this doesn't sound like it's a good idea to like afford this, to spend my hard-earned money on this. I mean, the whole reason why I'm in this house is because I'm saving money, right? And I'm not saying I'm not having any fun, that I'm not spending at all. I've purchased some concert tickets. I've gone on some trips and stuff, but I'm not doing it like I was before, how it's like every 3 weeks or so I'm like going out of town. Like I'm kind of staying put this summer. And I kind of thought about it and I was like, it's my money. People shouldn't have any right to try to manipulate me into doing things by kind of assuming, like starting to like assume the worst, that's kind of how I took it, is like not really even as a concern, but they're just kind of, to me, it's overstepping. It's like, how nosy and messed up does somebody have to be to kind of take that approach? It's like they're assuming that I'm lying to them, right? It's like you're going to assume I'm lying, which is why I backed out. And it's my money. Like, if somebody else isn't going to pay for it, then, I'm not going to go. And it might sound greedy, but it's like, if I can't get a flight for less than $2,000, it's likely going to be over $2,000. And then to stay somewhere for a week, that's not going to be free. I mean, they say they're going to pay for the food and stuff, but it's like, I eat on a schedule. I eat 3 meals a day. I sleep on time. I have a certain routine that if I go off of that routine, we all know, this is not going to look good for me. I'm in the middle of trying to focus on a career shift. I'm in the middle of trying to move and transition and move from one expensive city to another expensive city. Like, it doesn't sound financially responsible to, take like $4,000 plus, like $4,000 as an expense for a trip, plus whatever the penalty is going to be that I would have to pay for that, because that's just money out the door right there. It's just money lost that I will never see again. If the penalty happens to be $400 or $500 or $1,000 or whatever, that's just money, just bye money. You don't get that money back. And during a market like this, I'm investing heavily. I'm like, dude, like I'm about to, cash out after 5 or 10 years. This right here is my chance to get my money in order, to get my investments in order. It's not going to be this low again. And I'm not saying I love market crashes, but, I didn't know much about finances before, or finance and the economy in general. And when I started studying it in 2020, I realized, how things work with investments and everything. And I noticed, even just from my retirement account, just from working somewhere for like 7+ years and holding money in that retirement account, I definitely, even when even when the money was decreasing because of the recession type issues and the Rona, it was still, I was still seeing a lot of gains. Like long-term holding over time, there were a lot of gains in my investments. And I'm like, okay, if I can do that in about 7 or so years with the economy being relatively stable during that time, and then now when we're seeing the economy not being stable, dude, everything is so cheap. Like you can buy everything so cheap right now. And I'm like, I'm not trying to just like throw money into the wind, but it's like, the chances of seeing an increase once the market turns, it might not turn. Let's be real. We never really know because a lot of these finance people lie to us and they do what they're going to do anyways because at the end of the day, they're going to win. But I'm like, dude, this is my chance, in my late 30s to, invest my money, improve my financial future. This is how people get ahead, is you invest. And I know that, maybe just putting in money for some months isn't going to really make like a huge difference, but it's like, it's not going to get much lower than this anytime soon, once the market starts turning, everything's going to be more and more expensive. So you're going to be buying it higher. And, all that money that I could be investing now, I would be gaining. And so that's kind of how I'm seeing it. I'm like, okay, I'm trading a 5 to 10 year investment plan for a trip across the world. It's like, because it's not like they're not going to take more trips. They go out of the country like twice a year or so. There's not always weddings, but the person getting married, I don't know them. This cousin never sent me a personal invite. I've never met this cousin. I don't even know their name. I don't even know who they're marrying. And, the mom is the one who started reaching out to me, who's my aunt. She started reaching out to me in December. The sister I've met once. It's like, it's not that I don't want to meet new family, but it's like, the way I see it, I'm like, I'm here. If you want to connect with me, I'm here. I'm available. You can call me. You can talk to me. We can make plans to travel and meet one another. But does it have to be a $3,000 to $4,000 out of my pocket trip at a time where, I'm kind of in the middle of a hustle here, doing a lot of gig work, building up a lot of my own projects into income on the side, and when it comes to this pod, I've honestly had to kind of, put it on a back burner, and it's been taking a back seat to a lot of other activities I've been doing because it's not making money. So it's like put in time to not make money. I'll do it when I feel like it kind of thing. Not that I don't want to post, but just with this niche, with this topic, with this set of topics, I don't have much to post, just to be honest. Like, if I'm not doing, LGBT stuff, I don't really have much to post. And I don't want to really be just posting like, oh, like, I was stressed out about, how somebody thought I was some other gender in some place. It's like, how many times do I have to say that, Like, I get misgendered all the freaking time. Like, I don't want to talk about it every single day. But it happens a lot, I mean, I have a very feminine name, so it's like, there's no confusion there. When people see my name, they're like, oh, but it's like, with my hair, with my, when I wear a cap, and just the style of clothing I wear, at first glance, most people, not most, but a lot of people might get a little confused. And it's kind of interesting because I feel like, because I've gained a lot of weight. Like, I'm not like the same weight I was when I was younger. And I'm not, whatever. I'm not like body shaming myself, I'm focused more on my health than my weight, to be honest. But I don't feel like I have a very masculine shaped body. Like, I'm pretty curvy. Like, I don't have like a huge chest, but it's not like invisible. I mean, I don't wear like tight, very fitted clothes, but I don't wear like super loose clothing either. So like, you can see there's a chest there. You can see that there are hips, and I got a bit of a booty. I'm not like a flat booty person. And so it's kind of like, I wonder sometimes, like, do people just not look at body shape? Like, they just look at my face and then they're like, my voice isn't like super high pitched. And then they look at my face and then they see a hat and then they see my hair isn't that long, but it does stick out underneath the hat. I've got like kind of froey hair. And so it does stick out, in a little froey style underneath my hat. And I mean, I wear maybe masculine presenting clothing, but like I've mentioned, the color schemes, I think for most dudes it would be like too bright and like, I did verify that the shoes I have are women's shoes. I didn't even know. I was like, I don't even know where, like, they're bright colors, but it's like, I didn't know if they're men's or women's. Like, it didn't really matter to me. I just liked them because I liked the colors and I liked the fit and I liked how they were when I got them. It's hard for me to buy new shoes because I'm a little picky. I like my shoes to be worn in, so I tend to keep shoes for a long time. And yeah, I was kind of like, all right, that's just kind of how I'm living my days. But I just wanted to put it out there. Those are some reasons why I haven't been posting. The stuff with the fam isn't so much stuff with the fam as it is, I don't like people trying to like gaslight me or do kind of narcissistic things around what I'm doing with my money. If I want to sell my car, it's my car. It's my car, my money. If I don't want to put money into fixing my car, I shouldn't have to. I'd rather, I'm trying to save towards seeing, not sure, but saving towards seeing what's going to happen if I get, if I can do the conversion to a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Right now, nobody wants to buy my car for more than like $400 something, and that is worthless. It's like my tires are worth twice that, so there's no way I'm selling that car for that much money. I mean, it runs, it drives, it's got issues, it needs engine repairs. It probably just needs a rebuilt or a new engine, in all honesty. I think that engine has lived its second life, because my this engine I have is a rebuilt engine. It's the original engine rebuilt, so it only really had maybe I don't know how many years in it, 5 or so. It only had a small amount of years remaining in it, and so I'm still figuring that out. Like, it's probably going to take a while for me to save, because I don't know how much it would cost to pay someone to install to make it a hybrid or an electric vehicle. I don't know how much that would cost. I know the kits themselves, the conversion kits themselves, are $9,000 to $15,000. But that's still, about what you'd be paying for a used car anyways. A decent used car, like, you can't really get a decent used car for like $6,000 nowadays. Like, the market is so bad. And I checked, I was trying to sell my car at 4K. I didn't really get any bites. At 3K, I didn't really get any bites. At 2K, I didn't really get any bites. At 1K, I didn't really get any bites. I know that it runs now. I just don't know if it's going to consistently run. And it's definitely burning. It's leaking a little and burning something that smells kind of fiery. Not fiery, that's not the right word, but something is not going well under the hood. It's not actively smoking right now, but it's had so many issues. You guys, like, it's a 21-year-old car, with a lot of 21-year-old parts. Like, it's old. It's a 21-year-old car. So sometimes I don't know what people are expecting. I had somebody come and look at it the other day. I told them, I was selling it for $1,000, and they still came and looked at it, and then they tried to tell me that they were going to pay $400. I'm like, nah, buddy. And they were so rude. Like, and they tried to, like, guilt trip me, and they were, like, talking crap the whole time, and I was just like, bro, you can leave. Like, I didn't kick them off the property, but I was just kind of like, you came to me. Like, I didn't come to you. I told you all the issues with it, and I've put so much money into it. Like, I'd rather let it sit there so I can just sit in the car and smoke my pot. That's worth $400 to me. Like, you can keep your $400. Like, I'm not doing you any favors. I don't know you, and you were rude, so it's like, I'm not even gonna deal with that. It's like, I can definitely get more money than that, and if I can't, then I won't. Like, I don't really care. I mean, what can you get for $400, guys? Really, what can you get? Groceries? Most people nowadays are spending over $400 a month on their groceries. So it's like a month worth of groceries. Like, come on, man. You can't even buy anything with $400. Like, the concert ticket I bought was like $260 something. So it's not even 2 concert tickets. It's not even a trip to San Diego hardly. If I want to stay a weekend, it doesn't give $400 doesn't get me anything. It's like, I'd rather just keep an old car at this point. It's got some sentimental value to it as well, and I like to tinker, so I might play with it. I won't really play with the I'm still gonna play with the electronics. I'm not gonna play with the engine. But I am trying to consider, what it's gonna take if I want to convert it to an electric vehicle or a hybrid. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know what else I need to do on my end. But yeah, lately I'm just, my mind's on the money. Got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. I'm not really rolling down the street smoking Indo. I mean, I don't tend to smoke while I drive. I'll say, okay, so if I'm on my street or like a block away, I might take a couple hits sometimes. Like, if I know I'm going to just be sitting in the car for a couple hours, I might take like some light hits. Or if I'm on my way home, like maybe like a block away or around the corner, I might take some vape hits while I'm driving home. That's about as far as I'm gonna usually go with that kind of stuff. I don't really tend to be like leaving and smoking. But that's just, I don't know. It's just kind of my own thing. Like, I don't want to risk a DUI. That's the last thing I need. Actually, I don't need it. It's not even the last thing I need. I just don't need it. It's too risky for other people's lives. It's too risky for my own life. It's just not smart. And it's something I can easily avoid. It's like, if I'm going to be home in like 5 minutes, I can wait and smoke my pot outside the house. So I don't really need to do all that much more. But I don't know, guys. I kind of just wanted to put that out there. Like, I'm not trying to put all this negative energy, but it's like, that's kind of what's been going on. Why I haven't been posting as much. I'm not saying that I'm not going to post It's just, you know, my focus is kind of on projects. Most of the projects, you know, if they're making money, that's what I'm going to focus on. If they're not making money, I'm probably not focused as much on them. I'm trying to scale everything up. This pod just isn't making cash, you know. But that's not all it's about. It's not all about the money. I am still trying to provide value to the community, but I don't have anything to really say. Like, there's nothing really detailed towards my current experiences where I can just be like, oh yeah, like this happened or that happened. Like, I posted about, you know, the Black Pride events. I posted about, you know, well, I didn't really post about, I didn't go to San Diego Pride this year. As much as I wanted to go, I was like, I'm going to stay in town. I stayed in LA and I made money that weekend. I was like, I don't want to take the expense of spending so much. I mean, my friends are cool. I could have crashed with them, but it's like, to me, that's not restful. I kind of like to have my own space. Like, if I'm going to go somewhere and take a trip, I want to have my own space to unwind, have my own room and stuff. Like, I don't mind sharing rooms if it's just like one night or something. And if it's something quick, like a concert or something like that, just for like ease, I don't mind sharing a room. Or if it's just like, you know, party one night and then have a friend come to town and, you know, they need a place to crash, and we kind of plan it that way, that like, hey, I'm just happen to be in town and happen to have a hotel, so we can crash, you know, at my place for that one night. But it's like, otherwise, I don't really like to share hotels more than one night, and I prefer not to share them at all, just because I like my own space to unwind. I'd probably feel differently if I lived by myself, but I don't. So it's like, usually when I get a hotel, it's a bit of a luxury for me, because then it's like I get my own space to myself. Like, it's worth the cost of paying to, you know, stay there by myself. Because then I don't have housemates, roommates, other people that I have to be near. It's nothing like that. So, but I don't know, guys. Like, it's kind of hard for me to find topics to post on here if I don't really have anything really going on. I mean, I consume content of other people's, but that's really kind of all I'm really working on, is like the finance side of things. I'd say the only thing that really comes up for me, like, there was a job fair going on in LA on the 13th, I think it was, and my job counselor told me about it like the day before. And because that was our first session, I don't know, was it around the 13th or something like that? And whatever day it was, she told me the next day that it was going to be the next day. And so something kind of came up slightly with clothing, where I was like, I don't have anything to wear, because I was like, shoot, I know what they want me to wear, you know, like. And I was like, okay, I kind of have some fitted black pants that still fit me that I can wear. I have, you know, tops that I can wear, and I don't have any shoes. I don't think. I think I have a pair of Clarks somewhere, but if I do, I don't know where the heck they are. But I was thinking of going and buying some boots at, like, I don't know if Payless even exists still, but either at Payless or at like a thrift shop. So I was gonna go get some boots, because I was like, well, to me it makes more sense to wear boots, you know, because that's something that I actually would wear more than just, you know, women's style dress shoes. I don't wear those, you know. I don't wear, like, unless I'm going to like a wedding and I have to dress up, or unless I'm, yeah, maybe job interviews in person, but I can't tell you the last time I went to an in-person job interview. It's been years. So I decided to skip that job fair, because I was like, first of all, it's far. Second of all, it's far. And I instead, you know, made some money doing gigs that day locally in the opposite direction. Instead of driving towards USC, I was driving towards Long Beach, and so it's like I can't do both. So I went with whatever option was going to make me that immediate money, especially because we were going to use this job fair as like a practice. You know what I mean? Like, see what's out there, kind of practice. I was like, well, if I'm not immediately interviewing and trying to get a direct job and just kind of practicing talking to like hiring managers and things like that, to me, I'm like, to be honest, I was like, to me, that's not worth the gas that I'm going to spend and the wear on the car, because this car is freaking old. Like, I try not to drive it that far out of town. So that's kind of how I was feeling. I was kind of like, I really don't know if I want to do that. So, yeah, that's kind of how I decided. But, I'm saving to get this car's steering fluid leak issue resolved. I made some kind of weird decisions with, building credit and with finances, accruing some debt for the purpose of trying to raise my credit score. I don't know if that's the wisest way to do it, but that's just kind of how it unfolded, because my credit score has been pretty steady, which is good, but it's like I noticed it hasn't been rising at all. So I was like, let me get a new credit line and start spending on this credit line. So now I'm kind of paying that off. And my credit score is going up. I'm trying to get my credit score, over 700, over 750 would be nice, but it was lingering like just under 700. Now it's dipped lower, and I'm now I'm back to building it, but I've got a second credit line, so I'm hoping that helps. But yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Like, I'm trying different things, but I'm trying to get professionals involved. So I do want to get a financial advisor again, because I've been kind of off from that. And then, yeah, I do. Yeah, that is kind of what I want to do. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get paid on the 22nd. I'm a little worried about that. Like, not worried that I'm going to get paid, but because I think they're going to pay me. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm a little, like, not sure if I'm going to get paid for the apartment gigs right away. I think I'm going to have to wait till August 22nd, but I might get paid this month. I don't know when the cutoff is to submit my work. I think the cutoff was like the 7th or something. I think the cutoff is pretty early, but I don't know. I'll see what the cutoff is. Once they pay me. Oh no. But yeah, that's kind of why I haven't been posting. I'm not at a point where I'm like not gonna post on this pod. That's not really the direction I want to go. I just am trying to go in directions where I can scale things. And this pod, it's my fault too, because I fell off from posting for a while. And when you fall off from posting on a pod, the monetization opportunities change. The engagement changes, everything kind of shifted, because I did have a few weeks, I think, a while ago where I just wasn't posting a lot. And that, and then also like in March, was it March or May, that stupid change happened with Spotify for podcasters. So, yeah, I've just been kind of dealing with that. None of it's a big deal, guys. Like, I'm not ultra depressed or like concerned about any of this stuff. I'm just kind of like, this is how it is for me. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what's going on. And I kind of just want to verbalize it so that people kind of know what's up. I'm kind of just trying to work on my money. I've applied to some jobs that I think I'm going to have a good chance of getting. But I don't know. Might have to do some outreach at the same time. I just hate the process of applying for work. I hate it. So I've got a meeting with my job counselor tomorrow. So we've got our follow-up. So I've definitely solidified that I've got an opportunity coming up for an interview on the 26th of this month. I've got some medical appointments end of the month and beginning of next month in August. But other than my weird little like sleep issues during this past weekend, and early this week, I do feel better. A lot better. I just, I'm trying not to overdo. Trying to keep it simple. So, all right, guys. I hope this is, I don't know, like, this is the best explanation I can give as far as what I feel like is going on. Like, it's just hard for me to kind of post within these topics because it's like I do have stuff going on, but sometimes it's like I might not really want to post about it, or it's just like stuff that I'm like, is it really relatable? And I don't know, part of me is like, I don't really want to post about the negative stuff, like the stuff I was mentioning about like family, just kind of getting to me about different financial differences of opinions about things and different things like that. Like, there's some certain stuff where I'm just like, I don't really know. So I'm trying to figure that stuff out, but it's going to still take a while. But yeah, I'm trying not to take like a negative turn about it. But I don't know, maybe people like it when I post about negative topics, because it's reality. Not everything is going to be happy and great, and there's not always going to be a look at the bright side. Sometimes, it makes sense to wallow and get pissed off. Like, I'm not saying act out and like destroy things or like make problems, but it's like, it's my life. I don't feel like there's really a problem in venting. I just don't want to only be venting, you know what I mean? And especially because I haven't really been posting a lot of like directly relevant content other than just the day-to-day kind of stuff. I don't want to just come out and be like, like all this negative stuff is going on, because it's not all negative. Like, I'm building things, but it's a slow process to build. I'm rebuilding from scratch. I left a job environment that wasn't paying well to embark on a new opportunity. I left a housing environment that was super toxic and just not good for my health. Like, it was just too many people willing to put up with too many problems, and I had enough. And I was like, well, this is affecting my sleep and my health and my finances and my ability to feel like stable. And so I left from that. I said, in my head, I said F you goodbye. I didn't really say that to the people. I tried to work it out, as we all know, but we just weren't on the same page. Some people would rather live with the drama and all that. And now I'm in a house where maybe there's not a lot of open-mindedness outside of ultra-religious beliefs. I mean, people aren't like daily getting under my skin, but there are occasions, many occasions, where I'm just like, I'd rather just be kind of like to myself. So that's kind of what I've got going on. I'm working with what I've got, but definitely, for me, it's motivational to get out of a setting that I don't like if it's not perfect. Like it's not too comfortable. It's not comfortable enough for me to want to stay forever. You know what I mean? I won't reach my financial goals staying here. Because for me, when I get anxious or depressed, I spend money in ways that I wouldn't otherwise spend it. Like when I don't feel good, I'm like, let me go to San Diego. It's my happy place. That's not free. It ain't free. And so the last trip I took, I spent hundreds of dollars 2 weekends ago, between all the Ubers and Uber Eats. Like the bus was cheap, but then I had to spend all this money on transportation and spend all this money on food, delivered food, because there wasn't really places I could like walk around right there. And so I had to spend money, and hanging out with friends and getting out. I spent money. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I spent some money, So, and I'm really trying to be strict with my money. And so that was a splurge. It was a splurge, but it was good for my mental health. And the Pride event was definitely worth it. And seeing my friends was worth it more than any expense. I couldn't put a monetary value on that, and it definitely helped change my mood to something way more positive. Like ever since I got back, ever since I even like left, even on the ride to the bus, I started noticing, I automatically started feeling much, much better. And so that's kind of just what I needed. And it was a very great quality experience, and I definitely need more of that. But it's like when I start feeling unhappy, that's the kind of stuff I spend my money doing. So it's like if I were already living there, I wouldn't have to have the expense of trying to get there, because I feel happier there. The people I know there, I'm happier living around them. We have the same ideas about lifestyle and just letting people live how they want to live and not getting in anybody's way, and just, everybody being able to kind of, try to practice understanding each other. And, I live, I know a bunch of therapists, and we're all kind of the same generation of people. So it's like, it's different than, living with these older generations of people who just, no offense to them, but it's like they have these different ideas about health and mental health. And for me, living with the people I lived with before in that house in San Diego, or living even where I'm at now, it's like just being around people who don't believe in like building up their social lives, living around people who don't believe in exercising or don't get exercise or don't eat healthy, living around people who maybe don't really focus on their finances the way that they could. It's like they're in a whole different realm, and so for me, living with people who are like retired and, just kind of trying to live their retired life with all the stressors they're dealing with, it's like I don't deal with the same things. And then I notice that they want from me, because I'm younger and a little more sociable, and they want to kind of, oh, like you're out there, you're out and about, like what's going on outside, like what's going on out there, like what do you do with your friends and stuff. And it's like I don't want to talk about any of that with these people, like family members or housemates. I don't want to talk about it, not to be mean, but it's just like I don't want to, like it's my life. Like if you want a life, go get a life, like don't try to live through me like that. Like I kind of just, to me it's a little nosy, and I feel like it's almost like depressing to me to see how a lot of retired people live, it's like I don't feel motivated by it. It's like I've never been around retired people who care about their physical health or their mental health. I think they care about their spiritual health. That's something I've noticed. They kind of do that, but it's like, you can't just avoid all the other stuff. And to me, it's just like, I don't feel like I get a lot of, ideal energy from being around that. And so I guess this is just kind of what it's like for me lately. I mean, if people gravitate towards this kind of content, I'll post more of it. I just don't know. To me, it just feels a little negative and whiny and complaining. But it's like, I don't know. If that's what people want to hear, then cool, I can dish a bit. But it's like, I also don't want to be like throwing family under the bus or being like, oh, like my family, this and that. But it's like, right now, that's kind of what it is, It's like I can kind of, maybe I'm a little nitpicky, but I can kind of see the things that are related to health and wellness that are just things that I just don't find it helpful to be around. It's definitely motivating me to try to get out of it. And I'm trying to spend my hours and energy of my day, kind of having a more positive approach, trying to, build every day, make money every day. But yeah, guys, I think that's about it for now. Thanks for listening.